Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome everyone who is new because of this build. I just finished this up kind of yesterday and kind of showed some people in the John Deere and haban community, and I got a big asking of how did I build it. Everybody wants blueprints and plans and everything, so we're just going to go over it in a video, and I'm going to show you kind of how I built it. I built it off camera. I thought, I'll just fiddle with this. Nobody will really be interested, but I was wrong. So we are going to kind of go over it. What I did was changed it from the factory. You have a lever right here, and you pick the bar up. And when you pick the bar up, there's a piece that sits in there with a pulley and a chain up here. It picks this whole thing up also. And I changed it so both those functions are completely separate from one another, and it's all hydraulic. So all I did for the lift, to lift this up and down, was I put an eye bolt in right there and hooked the tractor mower deck lift to it. That was simple, easy. But then I switched from the lever to pick the bar up still to a hydraulic cylinder. So that's mostly what we're going to be going over in this video. But before I kind of go over how I did it, I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so now that you've seen how it does work, it works great, as a matter of fact. We're going to kind of go over how I built it. Now, I'm going to have it linked down below, and I'm going to kind of show it throughout the video. A friend of mine liked 3D modeling and 3D printing, so he kind of showed me a little bit how to use Tinkercad here, so bear with me. Not very good at it, but I 3D modeled the pieces that you will need to build, which consists of these two pieces here, this piece here, and then over here on the other side, the cylinder mount. I put some notes in there about how to do things. I made it public. One of the things you're going to have to do is get rid of this lever, because you cannot leave it up all the time. If you leave it up here, this won't go past here. It'll run into it. You won't be able to go all the way up. I'm leaving mine in the middle setting. It doesn't interfere there. But if you leave the lever on, it plugs up your bar and the grass will not fall off. It just plugs it all to heck. So take your lever off. And then this bolt here, I'm not even sure what this is supposed to do, to be honest with you, but I just took the chain on there and I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 links. I've got some extra in case I need to adjust it, but that seems to be pretty good how I have it there. And then your cylinder may be a different size than mine. I stole well, I actually have two of these cylinders. I stole them off of a Toro that I bought for parts, and they worked perfectly. So change your hole here accordingly. This is a 5/16 bolt, 1/2 inch head. that I just drilled a hole in and put a clip in. I would not actually use a bolt with nuts because then you're going to squeeze and pinch and it's not going to be able to flex and turn and move. In my cylinder, this is a 3/4 inch pin. This is just the existing pin that was in the Toro. I just used that. And this bracket here is necessary because nothing holds this end of the cylinder up. See, I can move it all around. And so when it's up, the cylinder wants to kind of drop down. When you push it out without this ramp, effectively, these brackets run into this and it won't go down any further. Also, without this, you're rubbing the chain and everything across the factory bracket, and I didn't like that either. Over here, and you'll be able to see on the Tinkercad as well, I just have a piece. Well, this is all built out a 1/4 inch. I got a piece that's 9 inches long here, and I have the carriage bolt going down through on this side so that I can still get to that grease zerk, and up through over here so it doesn't get caught on anything. Now my pin just bolts in like this. Your pin for your cylinder may be different. I just drilled a hole where that lined up and put a 3/8 bolt into it. Now you may not even need that hole, so just do your thing accordingly. It's 2 inches from the outside edge of here to the inside edge where the cylinder mounts. And I just have this so it goes right over top of the drive shaft tube here. My cylinder has a grease zerk on the end, so I made sure I could get to that still. It's very simple design. And I just have my lines kind of run over here. Don't be lazy like me, I just have mine bungeed to the side. Really, I should probably build a clip. I don't want to drill any holes in the tractor. That was my ultimate goal when I built this. I don't want to drill any extra holes. I don't want to weld anything to the sickle bar itself. So the sickle bar is completely unbutchered, and so is the tractor. So I just ran these along here, and I've just got a bungee holding them for now. I was wanting to run them up underneath so that they were completely hidden and out of the way, but there's not enough space. Things are all blocked up. Having the mount here in front of the axle, you'd have to go in here and then it'd squish the lines if you drove over any uneven ground. And you can't go underneath because there's already very little ground clearance. So this was the best routing option. As you see, I bought straight lines, put a 90 in, and then the coupling. That way I could use those lines for something else in the future if I wanted to. I have 90s on both ports of the cylinder. And because this is a 403 sickle bar for a Massey Ferguson, it's not 100% correct on this tractor. So if you have the factory 426 or 406 or whatever it is for the John Deere, yours may be different. Mine looks factory in the back. Everything looks good underneath, but my front axle mounts are different. I kind of built this. And there is a video on this channel of installing this sickle bar on this tractor, so if you're interested in that, go check that out. I was missing pretty much all of the factory guards, so I just threw this together. I had a road sign somebody had given me, so I kind of bent that up and threw it together. I did have to cut out for the hydraulics yesterday when I put that on. As you see, it occasionally decides to rub the pulley. So I need to redesign it. That was meant to be very temporary, and it wasn't. Any questions, let me know. We're going to go over the Tinkercad also. If you're here from that, thank you. Please be patient with me with that Tinkercad mock-up. I'm not very good at that. I've only made a few things on there. And so I do not really know what I'm doing. If you think you can help me, feel free to put a comment down below. I know this video is linked there, and that is linked in this video. So if you are not here from the Tinkercad itself, the link for that is down below, and that has some notes and measurements of what you're going to need. I'm sure I missed something, but I'm going to try to cover everything between this video and those notes. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment. The cylinder that I used, and there's a note in the Tinkercad also, it's 19.5 center of hole to center of hole extended and 12.5 fully collapsed. I've got 7 inches of travel, which is just about perfect. Now, if you have a cylinder that has 7 inches of travel that's longer or shorter or whatever, different length, you can change the length of the chain or do whatever you need to do. But this is a very effective system. It's worked very well. And you can't really tell. It doesn't get in the way of anything, as you see. I used it yesterday and mowed a field of high grass, which that video will be coming out eventually. I'm really far ahead on YouTube videos currently. I've got videos uploaded and scheduled through part of September. It's currently the middle of June. Well, we're approaching the end of June. So that video you won't see for a while. I'm putting this video up now because so many people have been interested. So I want to get this out there. Like I said, any questions, please let me know. And I will try to do what I can to help or go over whatever. I'd like to put a little disclaimer out here. The Tinkercad is for the cylinder I used. So it may not fit your cylinder. This is identical to the cylinder I used. It's 12.5 closed, 19.5 open. It's got a 1-inch pin on the back, 3/4 inch pin up here, 2 3/8 wide, and I think it's only an inch wide up here. If your cylinder is different, you're going to have to change the dimensions of your cylinder hard mounting platform, the bracket that bolts it to the frame of the sickle bar. You're also going to have to change the hole in the front to accept whatever size pin yours has. Okay, so this is the steel brackets you will need to build. You'll still have to find a cylinder somewhere, but this is the bracket that I showed you on the left side that the back of the cylinder is hooked to. This bracket here is hard mounted with these 2 bolt holes right there and over here, hard mounted to the frame of the sickle bar. 2 1/2-inch carriage bolts. You can change this bracket around if you need. This one here, this is just a brace. What I did is I had a buddy weld this together for me. I'm not very good at welding, and I had him weld this and this bracket on. What I did is clamp the cylinder in those, have him tack them, and then we unclamped it. We left the cylinder pinned in there, otherwise they want to move and come together. The piece I used for this bottom flat steel wanted to warp. We welded these uprights fully in, and then we set this bracket or this brace down in, and it was still up off, you know, 1/4 inch up off of this flat plate here, which doesn't matter. And then we welded it in also, and then we took a scrap and put it under the middle and welded that. And this brace should never need to be in there because all the force is going to be pulling on these straight this way. Nothing's ever going to be pulling side to side, or it shouldn't anyway. but we wanted an extra brace in there just to be sure. This is all built out of 1/4 inch steel. This and Tinkercad only lets you go up to like 7.5 inches or something. So this is meant to be one piece here. And this is 9 inches long. And again, all the dimensions are here. Each of these big squares is an inch square, and each of these tiny little squares is 1/8 of an inch square right here. Okay, this blue bracket over here, this note says bend on this line. I think it's about 30 degrees, I'm not sure, that you need to bend. This end will need to come down, and this end will stay flat. This is the bracket that I showed you that the cylinder will ride up. It's effectively being a ramp. And then this just kind of bolts there with those 2 3/8 bolts. These are the two pieces that go between the chain and the cylinder. So this hole here would pin them to the cylinder, and then this is a 5/16 hole for this 5/16 pin, and the chain hooks on that. And I just put a clip through mine. You can see I have a hole here for the clip. I did it that way so that you could adjust the chain how you needed it, where you needed it, and when you needed it without screwing around with tools. On mine it was a snap ring to hook it to the cylinder, so that just stays there permanently. I'm not going to screw with unhooking or hooking that ever. You don't need to. Like I said, the cylinder is 12.5 collapsed center to center, 19.5 fully extended. It's 7 inches of travel. My hydraulic hoses, and I didn't go over this in the actual video, the one that would hook to the cylinder on the right side of the tractor, which would be the loose end of the cylinder, the chain end, is 4 foot 2 inches long with a 90 degree on each end. And then the shorter hose is 3 foot 8, and that's the left side of the tractor. That's the stationary side of the cylinder. And I just have them run around to the left side of the tractor and into the hydraulic outlets on the front of the John Deere 140. I don't know on any other brands where your hydraulic outlets are or need to be, but make sure that you double check your line lengths accordingly, and don't just go off of this one if you have a different tractor. That's really all that we have here. This just tells you what the chain is, and then of course I've got notes that tell you what the guards are. Bend on this line. This one's going to tell you that this hard mounts the cylinder to the frame. This one's the pin that holds the chain. Change hole size accordingly. That's going to be here and here for your cylinder. And then this is going to tell you that those are the brackets you will need to go from the cylinder to the chain. I will have another note right here once the YouTube video is up linking this video, but clearly since you found this video you already know that. And any other notes that I think of I'll put in here. These two holes are 3/8, but you should be able to see that on here. This says all the sizes and stuff. So if I want to know, you know, what size hole this is, if it'll let me grab on it here. It'll tell me 3/8. I hope this is helpful to everybody. I don't know what else I can do other than actually building and selling the kits to install this, but then it's different for every sickle bar. Mine is not the correct factory John Deere one. So be wary. Make sure before you start building you check all of the dimensions with your sickle bar to make sure it's the same. please leave me a comment on this video if you have any questions. My email, Instagram, and TikTok is linked down below also. You can send me a message. The most effective would be Instagram or email. I don't really get on TikTok a lot. I only post there generally. I don't know if there's any way to put notes or message people on Tinkercad. So maybe if there is, I can figure it out. Somebody can leave a comment down below. But generally, a comment in the comment section of this video is the most effective way. And send me an email or an Instagram message and let me know down in the comments, because I'm not checking things all the time. So if you do send me something, let me know in the comments and I will go check. If there's any questions, like I said, feel free to message me. I'll try to help out as best as I can. If there's any other brackets that I missed, which I don't think there is, I haven't built anything to attach the hydraulic lines to the tractor yet. But I'm thinking just a clamping style clip that will go over the edge of the upright and clamp them. Not sure, but I'm not going to drill any holes in it. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here because of this Tinkercad drawing and you want to see more content like this and with garden tractors, subscribe and keep your eyes out. Turn on the notification bell, because that's what this channel is all about. I focus it mostly on the garden tractors. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.